down to the wire, their final game against BlossoM.
Cursed Hollow is going to be the map. So this is, in a way, this is the finals. Like, this is the map besides Eastern Clash. We will have a 5th map either way for standings, and that will actually affect, you know, BlizzCon qualification later on in the end of Part 2. But for today, like, this is it. Like, this is the most important map. It all comes down to this. Cursed Hollow, a map historically that's a great map for Miracle. It's a map that things can snowball out of control if you're able to get the first tribute, get a double boss, something like that, or get the level 10 first. And that's why it's been a strong map for Miracle historically, because they're such a good early game team. However, it's BlossoM's map pick. They have the momentum right now in this series. They've been running comps that are good at engage. They've been looking for early game picks. So it's a kind of a puzzling map, to be honest, here for BlossoM, but let's see how they execute it.
So far, this phase, Miracle have a 33% win rate on this map. It's their 2nd worst map after Tomb of the Spider Queen, where they're 0-2. So not a great map for Miracle. Maybe that going into BlossoM's thought process.
Yeah, I mean, I'm talking more about, like, historically overall, like, and during also their dominant period. This is a different roster, and they've had a bad win rate throughout most of the HGC's history. Super League was where they shined, but either way, like, it's, you know, it's a map that suits their strengths, even if they have a low win rate on it. But BlossoM gonna ban the Dahaka again, removing that global aspect here for Miracle. And Phoenix will be the first pick, the first time that he does take that first pick slot in this series. Such a big impact in terms of DPS, wave clear, escapability, mobility options, because he can both use his warp to secure a kill or to prevent himself from becoming one.
No surprise there with the Phoenix first pick, but I'm just A, glad that it's not Raynor, and B, I do want to see something else work out. Okay, BlossoM know what works for them. It's that Anubarak, not only just very high win rate, but the combo with Blaze, just so being able to be used so well in that last game.
It's the Wiz Kono, man.
Wiz Kono, is that the duo we're naming it now?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that is that Wiz Como, the Bash Bros, really working out well for BlossoM. And for Miracle, I don't think they're going to go with the same comp. Obviously, it's a different battlefield, but need something to deal with that. And, I mean, I don't know. What do you do against so much hard engage on BlossoM?
I think you just have to play poke, and that's why they grabbed the Li Ming. They have Phoenix already. They've already locked in their DPSs, which means that they can even further try to deny DPS away from BlossoM now. One of their big DPS picks has been the Maiev, so that could be one that we just see come through here in this phase. It's also, I know this is going to sound weird, but a map where I think Greymane could be relevant, something that you might want to consider banning here on this map, especially when we're running such squishy backline poke DPSs. But there's, you know, a lot of ways that this goes wrong for BlossoM just because they don't have the DPSs they're looking for. This is another one of those CC DPSs. Like, it does consistent damage, has some self-sustain, but the Sundering is really what you want for Thrall in this composition to continue that CC chain, and they remove that. And Thrall has been a huge element of what we've been seeing from BlossoM in 2 of their 3 games thus far, and he's been in every map. It's his first ban, and I think it's warranted.
Now, okay, it is. I was a little bit worried we might see more Maiev. Gondar's been super sick on that. I don't know if Battlefield specifically, that wouldn't be a good choice. But the Karazium has been banned a lot, and now that it's left open, BlossoM the one to pick it up. A great support choice, very high damage. The Palms haven't been looking so good lately, so I'm expecting 7-sided, but it's still very high priority. And now that it's not banned, it's picked up by BlossoM.
7-sided is very powerful on this map. Hyde was the first player in Korea to ever make that standard. You see the Sonya Decker coming through, pretty nice follow-up. But it's the first time Merida gets to play his most iconic hero, Kharazim, in a long time. It's been banned every map, as you mentioned, first ban from Miracle, so a lot of respect shown. But with the URL banning, URL ban coming through instead, this means that Merida gets this opportunity now to play Kharazim. Palms are what he's most famous for, but 7-sided more the meta now, especially against something like a Sonya Muradin. You can isolate those heroes, you can make this work. The Raynor last pick in this case, given no real dive on the side of Miracle, makes a lot of sense. They've got CC to lock people in, and then he's going to blow them up. Definitely going to be ace in the hole at level 1. And Gondar has an opportunity now to put BlossoM into Eastern Clash using this iconic Raynor pick that's so popular right now in Hero League Here we go, Reed.
I mean, what's so impressive about this is for BlossoM, you know, not only did they have to climb out of that lower spot in HGC and prove that they deserve to be middle of the pack, but then they made it almost even harder for themselves, making and letting Honkono come to the roster, changing roles. Now Gondar is playing an insane DPS after being a tank player for so long, and that's kind of what a lot of BlossoM's comp is riding on. So this is really kind of the culmination of everything that BlossoM has worked for. The roster changes, their role changes, the meta change with 6 bans coming through. BlossoM has to prove it right here if they want to go to the Eastern Clash.
And I think the thing to me that's so iconic about this series for BlossoM is it's the most pure form of aggression, heavy, high-octane engages that we've seen from them. And that's what may win them the series. You could argue it's what lost them game 1, but they've made some tweaks. They've ran stronger versions of comps, still good at team fighting in games 2 to now 4. And BlossoM, once again, in this game that they need to win to get Eastern Clash, they run this again. They run the aggressive tank engage composition. They're already at level 1, just dashing and blowing up towers here.
Gonna go for it. I'm glad that at least Miracle will be able to stop kind of a little bit of a cheese. That is not the way it's meant to work. They were hoping that they could get there fast enough to get the damage done and get out before the wave even came, but maybe not quite so lucky. Definitely not going as planned.
Against a lot of other DPSs, this would have been fine, but obviously you could just go into phase mode and shoot long range. I was sick juking by Meride around that scroll of ceiling. But yeah, I mean, that was just a small mechanical mistake by Honkono. He did like one more auto attack than he was supposed to. He would have gotten out otherwise. But it hurts, you know? I mean, we could say like, small mistake, but in the grand scheme of things, it ends up adding up. Continue to make mistakes like this.
They are at that level disadvantage. I'm just kidding, but for it probably won't extrapolate into very much else. We'll see if maybe that does slingshot things one way or another. Either way, we are seeing camps being done. With Nitrogen and Sonya will be able to solo that out. Big advantage, that pick.
They do end up being about a third of a level behind because the fact that they rotated down, they lost a minion wave because of it. So it's the death and also the minion wave that was lost. Not a complete wave, but still a few minions were lost in that rotation. So it's impactful, sure. Like, you know, you mentioned that. It does lead you to a faster 4 for Miracle, who are actually going to start the camp a little bit later than BlossoM here. We'll, of course, clean up that bot wave in just a second. Kind of a weird laning setup here with Manubrok challenging Phoenix right now, but it actually works out because he has such heavy engage and they didn't have full vision as to where BlossoM was. Like, look at where Sniper is right now. From his perspective, he sees Honkono, he's like, well, they're probably doing the camp, and now he knows, of course, but a second ago, he's like, well, what if I try to trade with Honkono when they're in that bush right there or above the bush and they kill me? So it's kind of cool to see Honkono beat a Phoenix in lane on a Nubrok because the Phoenix is so scared because he doesn't have vision.
So, yeah, and that is one of the vulnerabilities of Phoenix. Like, you can be so annoying if you have the scouting information that allows you to press that advantage, but if you don't know, like, you're just so squishy early on that generally it's not going to be a good idea to push that far forward. So let's see how things go as we are moving into altar time. First one spawning in just a few seconds down on the bottom half of the map, so obviously that will allow maybe a... Oh my god, Phoenix.
Honkono, man. Honkono
That's what we were talking about.
Wiz Kono. The engaged potential is limitless. If you're Phoenix, you better be well-positioned or you are going to die.
I mean, that's exactly what we were saying, right? The Phoenix cannot overstep just minutely because you're going to get taken down by such hard engage there. BlossoM show that already they are looking to push that button and make Phoenix have a bad day. So they do get the first altar. BlossoM going to be up a little bit. It's not going to matter unless they're for a couple more altars, but just little tiny advantages.
So it's the 20% bonus as well for Raynor. Like literally every hero except Karazim on their lineup can stun or slow enemies to give the extra bonus damage for that level 1. So like that's basically broken in this comp. It's like not even fair when you think about what that is going to be. Raynor already does such an insane amount of auto attack damage from level 1, from just starting out the gate. It's going to get stronger and more potent as the map goes on. And he has that extra 20% bonus damage pretty much permanently in every fight. and this engage comp works well with Raynor because of that. Uh-oh, speaking of engage, look
man.
at this again.
This is not going to be a long time for Blue Beetle to stay a while. He gets taken out almost instantly, and there's really no chance for counter engage. Just not enough damage there. Frankel's not super online just yet.
They're not respecting BlossoM's comp. They need to be more careful on rotation. They need to have vision before they walk into brushes like this. Desperation or no, based on tribute spawn, sure, BlossoM had the tribute spawn advantage, but you have to just give it up if you don't have info. And look, once again, they overextend. They're killed.
Okay, are we just going to see the same exact thing over and over again? BlossoM, they hide in the bushes, they hard engage when you're out of position. Wiz was even just using that Pyromania to stay alive by himself, and Miracle are like, hey, we can kill him now. It's like, no, you don't know where the enemy team is. And they hard engage for more kills.
Yeah, I mean, that was just sloppy in two ways there. The first death for Sniper, just kind of walking in there and then sticking around to try to prevent curse point. It's just, like, I understand the idea and why they did it, but I think that, like, it was just, in most ways, the obvious risk is there that you're going to get caught again, and they did, and they died. So I think Miracle's kind of losing sight, again, of what BlossoM's comp is designed to do, and what every comp they've built this entire best of 5 has been designed to do, and that is to fight, engage, stun lock somebody, and kill them.
They're just super good at doing that. Very well coordinated. If you'd asked me who was the better coordinated team before this series, I would have said Miracle. They looked great in their game against Gen G. That was the biggest thing that allowed them to come back. Their coordination was just insane. But against BlossoM, they just have great drafting, and they execute on those drafts incredibly well. So, I mean, Miracle has not shown that they have an answer for that. See if they can come up with one over the course of this game. Otherwise, BlossoM will take their spot at the Eastern Clash.
Certainly will. It's still a close game. The last tribute spawn favored Miracle, was on blue side of the map, so they did not get cursed. They're still going to match 10 here for this next tribute. It's a red side tribute.
Sniper. This is going to hurt. And the last hit. Boom goes the dynamite. And yeah, he warped and it wasn't far enough.
Minions just going to say no to that Storm Bolt. 10's up, so Gust also allows him to disengage. And guess what? Frankel's caught here. This is going to be cursed, but how many kills are they going to get before it? Nachogen slowed. It is going to be the Banshees this time.
And the last hit comes through. Falstat there to pick Sonya off, and another pick for BlossoM. This is just the same thing over and over.
So now, you know, 10's up, curse is up. They're going to kill onto Sonya, so this is going to be insanely impactful. They could even try to get a boss right after this. Their comp works better on boss than Miracle's. So that's another advantage they have. It is 7-sided strike for Meriday. I know the Meriday fans out there, myself included, are like, oh, I wish I got to see Palm, but it just doesn't make sense in this case, especially not for their composition. Gehon Kono has the Unstoppable, has the ability to escape with his Burrow stock, so it's not actually, or Burrow charge, excuse me, not actually the riskiest thing for him to stand like that. And from where I'm standing right now, it looks like this is just going to be a continued increase of Anubarak's win rate if this game continues to be played like this. Judy going in, putting himself into 7-sided strike. Sleep comes through here, but it's not going to be enough to save him. He goes down. Huge mistake on the engage here. Why fight there? Good dodge on the Cocoon, but it's not going to be enough. 2 dead.
Judy dies through Avatar. I mean, that's just how bad that positioning was. And even with the salvo to come out and maybe deal a little bit of chip damage, it's just totally superficial at this point. They have the curse, or they had the curse rather, and they don't need a whole lot more. With more kills coming through, this keep will be BlossoM's, and I mean, I don't think they're going to push through the core, but this is certainly a little bit ahead of schedule on this keep timing. It goes down BlossoM with a massive advantage.
20 seconds to Gust means they could take red side boss here, I think, pretty easily. It's basically free for them. And I think there's an argument to be made to take blue side boss, but it's risky. And even in worst case scenario here now, you trade bosses. But what that means is your boss, which Anubarak Honkoto just prepped the wave to push top lane, your boss goes directly to keep wall. You can get so much value out of it. Whereas their boss is going to hit a fort with a fort wall. So their boss that you're trading here, sure, you could have maybe played it greedier and maybe even just won the game off winning a team fight on their boss with a 13 talent tier advantage. But why do that when your Eastern Clash Life is on the line? You're up 3 levels and a talent tier. Take your boss, allow the boss trade to happen, look for picks, you could still win the game off this boss, but you're going to trade up in bosses no matter what. There's like no losing in this situation for BlossoM with the safe play. So they could end this game now if Miracle makes a mistake. They need to respect this composition, which they have not done throughout the early game.
I mean, this is just such a powerful play by BlossoM. I'm glad you pointed out that even in the end, the trade just will not be equal. BlossoM pushing through yet another keep. There's damage going down on their core right now, and they're hard engaging again, immediately blowing Sniper apart. Even Judy, very vulnerable. I mean, even through Avatar. Now, the counter kills may start coming through here. A reset to start things off, but can they get another kill? I mean, even Judy running for the fountain. He's going to make it back to the hearth, but
Blue lives too, but I mean...
Wow, they do a really good job running away, Wolf. Even Franco rather, getting back on the fountain, but...
They could still look for a core call here, even if they get wiped. Nothing too horrible happens. I think they're going to leave, though. Meriday trying to buy some time. We will have a second dash in just a second here.
Franco looking a little bit scary as he drops very, very low. Miracle are going to go for a little bit of a chase here, but they have to get these minions off their core.
Yeah, Oxygen will pull the catapults away. They end up taking 6% damage. Their bottom keep wall for BlossoM ended up taking some damage there as well to the last health of the boss, but now they have free soak. That's another thing you gain from this play is you get the free soak here, so the minion wave pushes up. So they got only the actual gate itself. So free soak for Falstad down in the bot lane because the boss pushes into that situation for you. You have 2 keeps down, so you have 2 lanes of catapults coming their way. Again, they could have tried to go for a core call there, but it would have been pretty risky. Even if they get wiped, it's not like they're going to lose the game, but playing it safe, maintaining this talent to your advantage. And this game is not over by any means for Miracle, but they are basically playing with one hand tied behind their back for a while now. To catch up to 16 is going to be a tall ask, especially since the bottom wave is just now becoming available for them to soak. It was pushed all the way because of their boss to the bot keep wall, so they couldn't soak that at all. Now they can, but they need to be careful to make sure that they don't get caught again by this engagement. We're talking 10 kills to 2, and I think a lot of people look at this and go like, well, BlossoM is the way better team. In this series, certainly that has been true, but they're playing their comps so well, and Miracle's not playing around it. That's why you see the 10 to 2, because they have stun into stun into stun into root. You're dead. Like, what are you going to do?
And, I mean, to just go off of that, Miracle are not respecting that, even from early on. Level 1 into, I think, the next fight at, like, level 4. I don't know exactly what it was, but the same idea. They keep getting picked over and over again. It's hard engaged. I mean, BlossoM are willing to just fight them straight up. And Miracle, there's no way that they can contest that down this talent tier advantage, or I guess almost.
They need to just give this tribute up, because they do. They do not even come close to it. They used to sit back and soak. The catapults make it easier for them to soak. So, you know, with these 2 catapults top, the wave pushes to a safer place for them to get experience. Love where Judy's standing right now, making sure the BlossoM's not going to hard engage while they get that much needed experience. They're still very far away from 16, but this is all they could do. They need 16 before the next tribute, because the next tribute means curse, which means minimum they lose their last keep, probably going to lose the game. So they need 16 before that. It's going to be a blue side tribute as well. So that's going to be the fight they need to take. Winning a fight on that tribute is actually how they can possibly get their way back into this game. They don't have 16 in time, though. 20 seconds left before this spawns. And now they're at catch 22. If they leave the tribute, they're cursed. They're cursed. If they fight on it, they're fighting talent tier down into hard engage CC that BlossoM's been using to win this game. They're going to take the option to not engage, not get wiped here. They're going to have to fight back against curse.
This is just so many hard decisions to make for Miracle right now. I mean, they are so close to level 16. That would be huge for them if they can get it, but they can't get it in time, realistically. And now they are cursed, and maybe in more ways than one.
This curse timing for BlossoM, unfortunately, doesn't mean a whole lot. I mean, they could go for a boss play here, obviously, to look to end the game, but like they can't. There's nothing on the map where you're like, okay, now they have the curse, so they can make a sick play. There's no more structures left to kill, you know, minus the bottom keep. So the bottom keep is going to go down eventually. But they're going to get this boss, so they're going to look for a play to win. Honkono's perfectly positioned to slow down the rotation over. Miracle realizes they're going to look for a team fight here, but it's too late. Honkono's back. They get boss. And now Miracle can't fight into this area.
Miracle just totally being run ragged right now. They can't find any opportunity to engage anywhere. There's creeps and catapults on their core, and even their bottom keep wall is being pushed by that wave. The curse just so impactful. You know, it did allow for BlossoM to get the boss, and even though that may not be a lot, it might just be enough to allow them to make this core call. Going in, though, trying to fight with their last life. Nitrogen gets in, gets back out. There's Stay a While, but the bunker actually is the saving grace against that. Now, one kill comes through and many more to follow. 2 dead, and BlossoM going for the core.
They're going for the core. This is going to be the last fight of the game. They crush it. 13 kills to 2. They lost the first map. They win the next 3. They will win the series, and they will qualify for Eastern Clash. BlossoM is able to make it happen. Overcome with emotion here as Honkono can't even believe it. But
Hell yeah. No, you got to know they feel just absolutely ecstatic. And for a Miracle that might have been just on fire after beating Gen G, I think we all know that BlossoM knew that they had a lot to overcome, and they absolutely prepared for it and deserve to be the final representative from Korea at the Eastern Clash.
Back-to-back be those Korea reps. And, you know, it's a series like this that really shows a team's play style. It shows a team's color, the engagement that they were so good at, they were so strong at. And Miracle, as much as they prepared and played well against Genji and won that series, they, however, did not adapt in this series in terms of their bans against the heavy CC that we were seeing from BlossoM, and they did not, in terms of their play and the rotations, adapt against how they were dominated. Honkono's the only one who walks away with 2 deaths here from the early game where it wasn't as dominant when things didn't really start to snowball against Miracle just yet. But it makes sense, right? He's the one who's spotting everyone. He's the one who's preventing mounting, etc. But no other deaths on the side of BlossoM. It was clean. It was a crushing victory. And they drafted to their style. Now as we look at Eastern Clash, do we look at BlossoM and say, this is the team that's going to go all the way? I don't think anyone can predict that right now. And there are some glaring weaknesses for this squad, and their drafting style is very one-dimensional, at least in this best of 5. But they were able to pull it off. They were able to qualify. Now they've got some time. Western Clash is first before Eastern Clash. They've got a lot of time to kind of go back to the drawing board, prepare what kind of drafts they want to run. We're going to be on a new patch, obviously. So there's a lot of different things to think about for BlossoM. But they are able to make it happen, and a pretty big upset today, I think most would say.
Yeah, and even regardless of it being an upset or not, just getting a chance to see the relative power levels of these middle-of-the-track teams, middle-of-the-pack teams. For HGC Korea, it's always been a little bit striated, right? You know, who are the top 3 teams, the bottom 2 teams, and the teams in the middle that do, well, I guess we're not sure. But for BlossoM, they have proven that they really do deserve to be exactly where they are. They're contending for the top spot. Even Miracle are contending for that, you know, to be in the upper 3. But BlossoM do really deserve their win today. They take out Miracle. Maybe Genji breathes a sigh of relief that they won't be assassinated by some, you know, team that they don't expect. But here's a look at the way that the games did go today. An early win for Miracle, but then BlossoM taking 3 in a row to secure their spot at the Eastern Clash.
I'd say, with the exception of Sky Temple, all 4 of these games were very one-sided as well. It was very like kind of hit or miss for whether BlossoM was able to make their comp work well. They had a great early game on Towers of Doom, and then they were just totally dominated. They had a bad team fight comp. Then on Sky Temple, that's where it was really, really a close game in a lot of ways, but in the end, BlossoM got all the keeps and crushed the late game. So that part was pretty one-sided. And then Battlefield of Eternity, they got 2 good dive engages, absolutely decimated their opponents there, got all 3 Immortals, and then the final map, I mean, you guys just watched it. It was just stuns into kills, into resets.
I mean, it almost looked like the, I mean, worse for Miracle version of that Battlefield of Eternity game. It's like, well, they hard engage and they pick you off and they force those fights on Battlefield of Eternity, and then the final map comes up and it's like, well, they just do that a lot more. And Miracle really seemed kind of somewhat confusingly unable to adapt to that. It's almost like they either didn't expect it to keep happening, they kept walking into dangerous areas without vision, getting picked off, and that's why you saw it was at 10-2 at the end.
Yeah, I think it was something like that. 10-2 might be right.
It sounds good. It feels good.
It was
in my head.
It was a lot of. It might have even been 12-2, but anyway, we all know Hong Kong was the only one who died twice,
Right.
but like beyond that, like it was a one-sided series, or one-sided map and series. I think at the end of the day, minus that Towers of Doom map. So really good play from BlossoM, understanding what their strengths are, and I think we do have to, as much as I don't like to say that Miracle failed to adapt in this best of 5. We're going to take a look back at these highlights and kind of break down some of these replays for you guys before we jump into our winners interview. A lot of really good fights with the comp that use Diablo for slows into salvo comps, and I made the joke earlier that it was Flankle, not Flankle in this game, but he was always in a position to make the big salvos happen right after the lightning breaths came out.
And that was the synergy that worked really well for Miracle, and then we just didn't see a whole lot of that for the remainder of their game. Of course, they stopped that fight, they crush it in the end. That game did not look close as they closed it out, and then they come in to what was kind of a big turning point for BlossoM as they crush fights like this, like Sundering, and then follow it off with just one pick after another, even through Dragon Queen.
Yeah, just it felt like it took BlossoM some time to come online. Even in that first game, we saw some really nice engages with their CC, but then they couldn't get the follow-up kills. But this is the fight that I think Miracle really lost the game because they tried to collapse in to save Nitrogen. We had some bad Sunderings for Contar this game as well, but it just doesn't matter. Like, Miracle played into their hands there, and then they ended up losing the Immortal, losing the game right afterwards. Once again, heavy CC is the name of the game, and as we go into the final map, I'm going to see some pickoffs here. Look at how Judy comes in here, right into a 7-sided, gives the perfect opportunity to Modern Life to gust everyone else away, so of course he dies first. Now there's no way out because Honkono's on the chase. Good dodge there by Frankel. It's like a perfectly timed, frame-perfect teleport to avoid that cocoon. I mean, these are just small victories here as the rest of the CC follows up. Judy's once again caught in this final fight, and the series ends.
And that was one big synergy that was a benefit for Miracle earlier, and then kind of a detriment to them today. That synergy between Judy and Blue Beetle just evaporated. Judy getting caught out so many times there at the end. Let's head into our interview. Take it away, Wolf.
I'm going to try to translate this as best I can. So we're going to be having an interview with Wiz, who's, of course, with his team qualified for Eastern Clash. Congratulations.
정말 함성 소리가 대단하네요. 인기가 많으시네요.
It's like you got a lot of people cheering for you. Pretty well known.
아, 너무 축하드려요. 일단 이런 벅찬 감동과 이런 순간에서 하시고 싶은 말씀이 있으실까요?
So congratulations. In this moment, you must have something you want to say.
네.
제가 사실 일단 부진한 거는 맞고 인정하고, 근데 그거를 극복하기 위해서 진짜 열심히 연습했거든요.
So we knew that this match was really important. So obviously we suddenly prepared a lot and practiced a lot for this match.
저를 응원해 주시는 많진 않지만 소중한 소수의 팬분들이
For those, even though there's not a lot of people who cheer for me, like for those who do, like.
보답하고 싶어서 진짜 열심히 했거든요.
So I actually did this for those people who do cheer for me, who do support me. And even though there might not be a lot of them, I did it for
하루에
you.
2-3알 정도 먹었던 것 같아요.
오늘도 그럼 많이 드시고 오셨어요?
오늘은 안 먹었고 어제 3알 먹었어요.
그런데도 오늘 굉장한 경기력을 보여주셨습니다. 네, 오늘 안 그래도 이제 명장면이 사실 1세트에 어떤 기세를 빼앗기면 그 2세트에서는 좀 그걸 회복하기가 굉장히 어려운 경기가 많았어요, 이때까지. HGC에서 3대 0의 경기가 그래서 많았던 거고요. 근데 2세트에서 대학가의 어떤 혓바닥이 굉장한 저력을 보여줬던 것 같습니다. 그때 혓바닥을 딱 내밀 때, 내밀어서 폴스타트를 끌 때, 그때 이제 팀원들 간에 어떤 그 긴박한 대화가 오갔을 것 같아요.
긴박한 오더는 오가지 않았고 그냥 제가 오늘 혓바닥이 잘 맞길래 오늘 되는 날이구나라고 생각을 했어요.
되는 날인 것 같았어요. 자신 있게 내밀었는데 맞았고.
We don't have G-Clef today, and like my Korean is not perfect, but
그리고
the idea
그
about
이제 혓바닥에
obviously that big moment where he was able to grab Falstad and
약간
how much of an
이제 오늘
impact it
홍코너
made.
선수의
It's like, yeah, it
아누바락이
was really a
시야를
important moment.
과감하게
General
봐주는
statements
장면이
here.
많았는데 그때 굉장히 위험한 상황이 또 있었어요. 근데 어떻게 잘 아누바락에 빠져나오면서 그 위기가 넘어갔는데 그때 혹시 같은 탱커의 입장으로서 아누바락에게 혹시 어떤 이야기를 하셨나요?
So, what did you guys talk about
저는
the
탑에
Anubarak pick in
있었어가지고
particular?
자세하게는 모르는데 일단 그냥 저희 팀이 좀 급하게 하는 성격이라서
We've got a really like aggressive personality within our team.
천천히 하자고
and
확실한 거 아니면 빼자고 이런 식으로 말을 많이.
So we were talking about, do we just want to play this slow? Do we want to play this aggressively? So we actually had a lot of discussion about that, but kind of referring to the team being very aggressive.
네. 그럴 때 이제 항상 팀원들에게 이야기하는 멘트가 있다면 어떤 게 있을까요?
So like, what were you kind of talking about in the team during some of these big moments?
항상 멘트가 같진 않고 그냥 오늘은 우리 팀이 더 잘하니까 천천히만 하면은 충분히 이길 수 있다라고.
So like not talking that much actually, just saying like we're actually the better team, like just kind of reminding everyone on the squad like we're the better team. If we play this slow, if we play this correctly, we should be able to take the win.
아시겠지만 스킬을 찍을 때 보통 상의를 하시나요? 다른 팀원들 뭐 나 오늘 이 스킬 찍겠다 혹은 뭐
talking about like
위즈
what
선수도
talents.
오늘은 이걸 찍겠다 이렇게 얘기하시나요?
Like,
보통
so how do you guys decide like what
뱀픽을
heroics you're
하는
gonna take? I
사람이자
guess is the
대상이
question.
건다르기 때문에 보통 곤달한테 먼저 물어보는데
네.
형식이가 그냥 그게 맞는 것 같으면 찍어라고 하거든요.
So basically, Gondar is saying, you know, if that's the talent you want to
근데
pick, like
오늘
lock it
곤다르
in.
선수가 본인은 그럼 결제를 맡을 사람이 없잖아요.
네.
근데 낙뢰를 찍으셨어요. 혹시 이유 알고 계신가요?
그냥 이거 이번 판 낙뢰 각이다라고 팀원들한테 먼저 말을 했어요.
아, 말하고 찍던가요?
네, 그래가지고
So
그때 태준이 형이
네.
메디데이
kind of talking
선수가
about how
각이냐?
sometimes like
그러면
these
그냥
decisions
찍어
are made
이래가지고
beforehand,
찍었어요.
sometimes they're made on
굉장히
the spot.
쿨하게 확 찍었네요.
네. 네.
Talking about
좋았던
Mary
것
Day for a
같진
second, I missed the question. I might be
좋았던 것
talking about why they
같진
picked the
않다.
seven-sided, but I didn't hear
그리고
the
이제
question.
이번
I bet.
경기에서 상대편 영원의 전쟁터 그 싸움에서 상대편이 루나라랑 레이너를 픽했어요.
네.
근데 그때 사실 저는 메리데이 선수의 어떤 리리 픽이 나올 줄 알았어요. 사실 브론즈와 실버의 입장을 대표해 보면 조심스럽게
So
두
talking
명의
about
평
kind of the
딜러가 나오면 좀
Rainer
미리
pick,
실명을 가지고 있는
did you
지원가가
guys kind
나올
of
줄
expect
알았거든요. 그리고
this
실제로
pick
굉장히
kind of have like a
영토까지도 고민을 많이 하시더라고요. 근데
did you guys kind of
팀원들끼리
like prepare
어떤
for this? Did you know that
상의가
this was
있었나요?
kind
백커드를
of a
뽑기까지?
situation that you prepared for? I think we're referring to the BOE game.
상의라기보다는 뱀피가 하는 곤다르가 메리데이 선수한테
네.
아나랑 데커드 둘 중에 하나 뽑으면 될 것 같다고
So
선택지를
Gondar
보고
was talking about to Mary Day
태준이
saying
형이
like
거기서
you should
이제
pick between Decker,
데커드를
between Ana.
뽑아가지고 데커드를 픽하게 됐어요.
아 그래서
Ended up
택하게
going
되신
with
거군요.
the
그러면 이제
the safer
앞으로
pick, the Decker pick
본인이
in the end.
이제 따로 연구하거나 따로 연습해야 될 캐릭터가 있을까요? 근데 비밀이시면 말씀 안 하셔도 되지만
is there any like
뭐 따로
characters you guys are kind of
뭔가
working on
연습을
practicing
매진을
right
해야
now? Like,
하는지
and
궁금합니다.
she's like, you don't really have to say because you guys are always trying to keep it a
아르타니스가
secret, but
패치됐는데
anything.
저는 해보니까
share with
괜찮은
us?
것 같더라고요.
네.
그래서 아르타니스 한번 연구해볼 생각이에요.
그러면 이제
Talking about
마지막으로
Artanis, I
조금
think is what he
인터뷰가
said there at the
길어져서 네. 이스턴 클래스를 앞두고 향후 계획에 대해서 팀의 계획을 말씀해 주셔도 되고요.
네.
본인의
So
그냥
what are
뭐
kind of the plans
사적인
for the
계획을
team?
얘기해 주셔도 됩니다.
You can kind of share some of your
그냥 제
thoughts going forward
목표는
네.
and what your goals
저를
are.
응원해 주시는 소중한 팬분들께 부끄럽지 않은 선수가 되고 싶어요.
He just says he wants to be the player that doesn't
지금
disappoint the fans
말씀하시면서
who support him.
눈물이 약간 고이시는데
아까 이미
So it almost feels like you're tearing up a little bit.
안올 것 같아요.
괜찮아요?
네.
그럼 기쁜 마음으로 여기서 인터뷰 마무리하도록 하겠고요. 저희는 잠시
Well,
쉬었다가 두
that
번째
is going to
경기로
be the end
돌아오도록
of our
하겠습니다.
interview. We are going to go to a bit of a longer break. When we return, we'll have our second series.